Today we're going to talk about range of motion, or what I hope you really think about is stretching for those joints and muscles that don't move normally because of a disorder involving the nervous system. It could be stroke, Parkinson's disease, multiple sclerosis, or others that limit how well someone moves. And we tend to see the muscles begin to tighten in the direction against gravity. So most of the tightness you'll typically see in the arm involves movement into this direction. So more often we'll tend to stretch in the opposite direction. That will mean taking someone and performing a stretch to the point of discomfort, but not through pain. And the intent here is to preserve as much motion as possible in those structures. One of the most common areas that's a problem is in the hand, and it tends to fist. Stretching should be done until you feel tension on the stretch, or you see some blanching in the area that's being stretched, or the consumer complains of pain. You're going to hold a stretch for 20 to 30 seconds and try and lengthen those structures. If there's tightness in another direction, you can also move that way. Again, more often in the arm, you're going to be moving this elbow into this motion, which is extension. If there's tightness in the other direction, you can move there as well and hold for 20 to 30 seconds. Now, if someone's had a stroke, there's a special issue with the shoulder. Shoulders are at high risk for becoming painful. And unless there is a specific program set up to stretch the shoulder, you should not be performing any stretches at the shoulder. If, however, the person has not had a stroke and, for example, has multiple sclerosis, it will be important to preserve how much motion occurs at the shoulder. And that can be done by taking the shoulder into the typical motions you see it move, in this case forward or out to the side, and bringing it up until you feel tension resisting against your hand, or there's a complaint of pain. You can also, with that shoulder, because it has many degrees of freedom, move into rotation and perform these stretches that I'm doing a little fast for this video, and you'll want to, in each of these cases, hold for 20 to 30 seconds, and if you have the time, actually repeat it and do it a second or third time. In the legs, the greatest tightness tends to occur in the muscles that work against gravity. So those muscles, such as the ones that push down the foot, straighten the knee, and extend the hip, do best with stretching. So for example, you can stretch the muscles in the buttocks and hamstring region by keeping the knee straight, one hand on the knee, the other hand down on the lower leg, and bringing this up until you feel tension or until there's discomfort in that area. And then you'll hold for 20 to 30 seconds, and if available, do that 2 to 3 times. The other group of muscles that's going to tend to tighten up quickly are those that plantar flex or point the foot down. This group doesn't do as well with just a stretch in this direction because this stretch tends to stretch the bottom of the foot. To truly get the muscles in this region, I'm going to cup the heel and use that as leverage as I use my forearm to push the foot in this direction. Now you're getting a more effective stretch for the muscles in this region, and you'll hold that for 20 to 30 seconds. This can be a more vigorous stretch. These are bigger and powerful muscles that you want to overcome and lengthen with this technique. For people who are not able to move around well, it will also be helpful to achieve as much motion as possible through the leg. So bending the knee and hip in this direction is beneficial. Also, if there's tightness around the hip, people will benefit from this and often feel more comfortable with rotation. And this rotation is going to be to the point of firmness or stiffness. Again, pressing vigorously is a risk, and you want to move through the motion they have, but not begin to force it here. People who've had a central nervous system disorder, such as multiple sclerosis or stroke, are going to be battling this tightness of muscles, and we can minimize some of the changes with this stretching. We cannot prevent the development of contractures or shortening of the muscles and tendons. We know through extensive research that despite the best efforts, when we perform this stretching, we are not going to lengthen those structures. That's important to consider for those people who are feeling that they should have stretched more or they should have stretched harder. It's not that they didn't do it well, it's that it's a tough battle with the muscles and the nervous system when they're reacting this way. So when you do these, your primary goal is comfort, because it will make someone more comfortable, and it is to keep as much motion as possible, but respect that the battle with the muscles is a difficult one, and despite exhaustive research, we do not yet have a better strategy for preserving flexibility.